And this album is, again, really beautiful.
Very antique, okay? I'd like to start off with the picture of my dad. So this is my father when we worked in North Carolina. And if you notice, Miss Quintero's up here making boxes. Made a lot of boxes, okay? We did bell peppers, tomato, squash, zucchini. Give me a thumbs up if your families have done that before.
This is my grandpa working. He sends the produce to market. This is when I was little and they took me.
This is my mom when she celebrated her 15th birthday. And then the baby is one of her cousins. This one is a picture of me and my sister. My mom decided to take us a picture so we wouldn't forget about those moments.
And what was it like going through all the photographs to get the photographs to bring in today?
These pictures remind me of how whenever we were little, we would go through these pictures together and they would be like a journey.
These are our 6th graders, and I can't wait until these wonderful scholars end up graduating high school and then share with me which university they're going to be attending.
Role models like Zuleika inspire students to follow their dreams. Dreams that may take them beyond the small communities that dot the Everglades. When a young person does succeed, it becomes a triumph for the whole community. Everyone in Everglades City's Island Cafe is rooting for this one. Devontae Detweiler.
This is a picture of my great-grandma and my mom. I just really like this picture because they both look young and happy and youthful, and it makes me happy.
She was my rock. She passed away about 2 years ago. I don't know if I can fill her shoes, but I'm trying.
She's doing good. She's doing amazing.
Devontae, my son, he's in college right now, and I'm very proud of him. For him to have an interest in journalism. Every time I watch the news, I imagine him one day being an anchor there. And then I have my youngest son, AJ, who hopefully follows in his footsteps.
The example I'm trying to set for my little brother is to never take education for granted. Most people in Copeland are struggling against drug addiction. And financial issues, poverty. I'm very smart with real life because of my grandma and my mom, and I know all that they went through, and I'm not someone who's going to risk it all for something that's not worth it because of them. They taught me like the true meaning and the true worth of life, and not to throw that away.
Fort Myers was an actual fort built for the Seminole Wars on the banks of the Caloosahatchee River. A young Spanish immigrant named Manuel Gonzalez settled his family here after the Civil War.
Manuel Antonio Gonzalez is my great-great-grandfather. He was 14 years old when he sailed from Spain with a handful of boys in, I think, 1846. Anybody who's 14 years old can build a boat and sail to Cuba and knew how to get there at that age is amazing to me. The Gonzalez family settled Fort Myers, the first settlers here.
This photo is pictures of the family cattle ranch that was up the river at a site, old Seminole Indian War fort called Fort Thompson. If you were driving a herd of cows to Punta Rassa to be shipped to Cuba and sold, that's where the Caloosahatchee got so shallow you could actually ford the river. Our history really is kind of the development of Southwest Florida. We were the 3rd family to come into this area after the Civil War and have kind of been around for the history ever since.
He's my 2-time or 3 times great-grandfather?
He's my 4, he's your 3.
Okay. When I look at this photo of Willoughby Tillis, it brings about a lot of mixed emotions. He is my 3 times great-grandfather, as well as the slave owner of my family. You know, it takes my mind every which way. He was owner and also biological father of my 2 times great-grandfather, Nelson Tillis.
This is Nelson Tillis. He is my great-great-great-grandfather. I am so amazed by him because he founded a school, founded a church, was a landowner. I feel as though my pioneering spirit was an end result of having this ancestor who blazed a trail.
After slavery ended, Nelson was the first person of color to arrive in Fort Myers. Nelson migrated down here with his Caucasian wife, Ellen Summerall Tillis, and they began to homestead here. This was a white woman who had everything to lose by stepping outside of the boundaries. These two had the courage, the love to set up a household in what had been Confederate Florida.
Nelson and Ellen would have 11 children and many grandchildren, becoming one of the important founding families of Fort Myers. At the Williams Academy Black History Museum, images from the Tillis story are on display. But there's still a lot to uncover. I have something I'd like to share with you. The Lee County Black History Society found this photograph. Apparently, it is of Ellen Summerall Tillis and her son.
Wow.
Have you ever seen this image before?
No.
So this is your great-great-grandmother?
Yes. Wow.
So the back says Ellen Summerall Tillis and son Elijah.
Wow. That is incredible. She had at least 2 children that would pass.
Passing meant passing as white in order to avoid segregation and discrimination.
One was my Aunt Ida, and I'm thinking he must have been him.
He looks like he could pass. In fact, he looks like he's a blonde hair.
Exactly.
child.
Right.
Very fair skin.
Yes.
In fact, I can see the resemblance with you, with your high cheekbones.
I think I do look
your
like
nose.
them. I think I do. I do have their nose.
Wow.
Yes. That is so amazing.
So where exactly are we right now?
We're in the historic Henderson Cemetery in Fort Myers, and this is the grave of Ellen Tillis. The cemetery was segregated by race, and so only Black people could be buried here. If a white woman married a Black man, she essentially lost her right to be considered a white woman. If you lived Black, you died Black. I always leave little things of remembrance. Blue because of the ocean, you know, when they were fishermen. Flowers because, you know, they were farmers.
I don't see Nelson's grave marker here.
No, there's no grave marker for Nelson because Nelson disappeared and we believe that he was killed. And so we don't know where his body lies. I pray that we will know someday. But until then, we have her, their story, and you know, we can build a world from that.
So what is your relation between the 3 of you?
We're cousins.
We're cousins.
All 3 of your cousins?
Yes.
Cassandra's search for Nelson's history leads to a reunion that unites 2 branches of the Tillis family, confirmed by a DNA test. Who was the common ancestor here?
This right here is Willoughby Tillis. Willoughby is the brother to my great-great-grandfather, and he's also Nelson's daddy, Nelson Tillis, which is their great-great-grandfather.
I was wondering who these other people are in this photograph, and do you know?
I know this one right here. That's James Dallas, and he was one of the sons of Willoughby.
Wow.
So he was half-brother.
He was
with
half-brother
their
to Nelson.
great-grandfather.
Yes.
Would they have acknowledged that connection?
That's a question that we're trying to answer.
Right.
We don't know. This, to me, looks like Willoughby, but I'm not sure.
So this is almost a family photograph.
I would think it'd be close to it. Willoughby had quite a few sons, so it could be.
Wait a minute. That's a picture maybe of all our uncles.
Could be.
Wow.
I'm telling you. This picture right here really kind of brings it full circle.
Yeah.
We had a memorial service, and it was just nice for all of us to be together at the graves of our grandfathers.
Connecting with our family allowed us to move forward, to find out that we had family and they love us.
And a family that loves you, too.
Yeah.
That's what's in here.
That's right.
And in here.
Whoops.
I think there's more that, if we really look, that will bring us together than tear us apart. These are my cousins, and I love them. And they love me.
Yeah.
I think it's a powerful testimony of just the resilience of the human spirit. The ties that bind us, the ties of blood, community, all those things still exist today. And the fact that we were able to reach back over 100 years and still pull those positive elements out. Justice, love, humanity, those are the things that this teaches us.
I was born in Haiti, brought to America at the age of 4 by my mom. I don't think they wanted me to show this picture because it's kind of beat up. It's a picture after my sister's baptism. I think she was just a few months old in this picture, and I had to be about 9 or 10. And my mom is in the picture, and my sister's dad would have been right here, but I cut him out. And I had another family member, I don't even remember who was here, but I cut those people out. And it represents the hurt that I've experienced when I wanted to cut parts out of my life. I was upset, I was resentful, I was mad. And now I look at this picture and I wish I hadn't cut those pieces out of my life. I wish that I hadn't tried to pick and choose what was there. I wish I had the whole picture so that I was able to tell the story as a whole.
These are my 3 brothers. This is me over here. I'm quite different than I was back then. We came here with pretty much nothing and we looked out for each other. We sort of fled Vietnam after the post-war. We landed in Naples, Southwest Florida. And pretty much that's where I've been for almost 30 years. So that's me when I was in 2003. We're very proud of that we're the first generation to graduate from college and to really be able to start a new life here. But now I decided at 26, open up my own smoothie store, and life is doing pretty good.
Let's see. Well, the most significance to me is probably actually the most recent one because it is...
That's because she's so young.
It's because I'm so young. So this photo was taken in 2001, which was my senior year of college, and it shows my family. So my father, me, my brother Will, my mom Sarah, and my grandmother Harriet. And this is at our restaurant Ridgeway Bar and Grill in Old Naples. Even though we've had, well, I shouldn't say we, Dad.
Well, we's good.
We, the family, has had a restaurant in that location since '76.
Yes.
This particular restaurant opened in 2001, and this photo was taken just a few months before my grandmother passed away. So it has a lot of significance because it shows all of us together at a very momentous time in our lives.
This one, and it's a lousy picture because it's old and it's been ripped. There's 2 things about it that are significant for me. One is that it has a picture of my mother in it, who brought me to Naples, and it has a picture of the original restaurant in Old Naples, and that's where I began. My mom was the person who said to me when I was 8 years old, if you want a lemon meringue pie, make it yourself. And she was my greatest fan, and she was also my best critic. We all need those.
Naples is well known for its high concentration of millionaires and billionaires, seasonal residents who once called on Caroline's grandmother and great aunt to furnish their homes.
So this was the original R&R Robinson right here. This building was built specifically for my great Aunt Rosemary. She was an interior designer.
Wow, what year was this?
This was in the late 50s. My grandmother Harriet worked here with her sister Rosemary, but call this the birthplace of Naples.
Okay.
We say that you come to 3rd Street for glamour and for good times.
So is it any coincidence that it's actually opposite your dad's restaurant?
It's a total coincidence, but it was a lot of fun. By the time his restaurant opened there, this business had been here for a long time. So it was great, because when I was a kid, my grandmother was here, we were there, we would walk across the street. It was a very small town then. You know, this is really where it all began, right? This is my first birthday. So this is me with my dad sitting in the middle of the sheet cake on my first birthday. So my dad was a little bit of a celebrity here in town. You know, he revolutionized dining in Naples, and so he got a lot of press for it. He came in here with all these ideas about fine dining and French cuisine and classical technique, and nobody had ever seen anything like it.
And who's in this photograph?
So this is my dad, Tony, and here's me, little 4-year-old me, and this is my brother, Will. My brother, Will, was 2.5 years younger than I am, and he passed away a little over 3 years ago. And he actually took his own life after a long struggle with depression and mental illness, and he was an exquisite human being. He was counsel to my father. He was my champion. This was us at the original 3rd Street South Farmers Market that my dad helped found, and we were selling basil that we'd grown in our backyard. And so a lot of what we do here is just about carrying his memory forward.
Wow.
Pretty special, huh?
Yeah.
This is what keeps people coming year after year. It's an incredible natural resource. I mean, there's not that many places in the world that you can come to that look like this, that have this just natural beauty. I mean, can you imagine what it was like to get here?
Yeah.
In the early 1900s, when you had been on trains and boats for God knows how many days, and you showed up here in your full Victorian gear and your steamer trunks, and there were mosquitoes, and you just went, all right, I'm in Naples.
Wow, so it's changed a lot. This pier looks new, and it's been through several hurricanes.
It's been through a lot. It was totally rebuilt after Hurricane Donna in 1960, and substantially rebuilt after Hurricane Irma.
Oh, so it is new.
It is actually new. But every time they build it, they just do the same thing. So it looks the same as it has forever.